St. Nicholas Cathedral. This outstanding European art church is famous as the daughter of Notre Dame of Reims, and its history goes back to 1300, as Enlarged says, and Geoffrey verifies. Camille Enlarged, in his book 1899, Gothic Art and the Renaissance in Cyprus, mentioned this cathedral as Famagusta Cathedral, which was developed on the date 3rd August 1300, as demonstrated by Cavalier de Desimoni in the Genovese records of Famagusta. It was the coronation place for the Lusinian kings of Jerusalem after they had been crowned in Nicosia as kings of Cyprus, and maybe that is why it imitates Reims Cathedral. Its instruction work progressed slowly after the funds were exhausted, and the apsidal chapels and two bays in front of them were all completed by 4th August 1311. After the end of the 14th century, two chapels were added to the fifth bay of the aisles, and the southern one survived, but the northern one was demolished. Later, a chapel was built on the seventh bay of the southern aisle. In 1571, it was bombarded severely but remained sound. Two lateral doorways are opening out from the fourth bay of the aisle, one on the north side and the other on the south side. The northern doorway is simple but elegant and accesses the courtyard of the palace of the bishop. It has a pointed opening but no tympanum, and the frame of the door is carved with moldings. The southern one is more imposing and occupies all of the space between the buttresses, and it has deep-set arches that touch its exterior faces with a projecting sill on top of them. This doorway has pointed arches and their moldings are continuously going down the jambs. The most impressive and well-designed part of the cathedral is the west front with three wide and remarkable doorways. The central doorway is taller and wider, but the height of all three gables is the same, so the angles are different. The central pediment over the doorway is smaller than the other two, but all decorations of the three pediments are blind tracery. Each doorway has a hood mood with a carved groove, and their tympana are openwork with elegant tracery. There is a central mullion dividing the doorway into two openings which are decorated with a statue. As it is obvious in the plan of the cathedral, the apse is on the east and the main entrance is on the west side. On the southeast part of the cathedral, there are three vertical lancets with quatrefoils and very similar but a little bit different tracery patterns on the first level. On the eastern part, there are 5 vertical coupled lancets with trefoils and the same tracery patterns on the first level and 7 coupled lancets on the second level. 2 of them are simple, but the other 5 have cinquefoil shaped stars. The windows of the northeast side of the cathedral are 3 vertical lancets with trefoils and rose-shaped patterns on the first level. On the north side, there are 2 attachment buildings, as is obvious in the plan, and the windows are small and simple on the first level. On the north elevation, there are 6 windows on the first level and 7 on the second level for lighting the nave. On the first level, The first window from the left on the north elevation has one quatrefoil on the top and two small ones below it on top of the two coupled lancets side by side. The second and the third windows are unglazed, but the fourth, fifth, and sixth windows are the same as the first one in this elevation on the first level. The first, second, and third and fourth windows on the second level of the nave from the right are simple, but the fifth and the sixth ones are colorful with one cinquefoil on top and two quatrefoils below it on top of the two coupled lancets side by side. The last window is unglazed but has the same pattern as the fifth and sixth. There are two doors at the ground level on the north elevation, a window or door and a closed door with tracery. The main facade of the cathedral is the west one, in which the entrance is on the left side. The main entrance must be the central portal, and in special ceremonies the other two doors were being opened too. There are 8 narrow vertical openings on the left tower of the cathedral, and 6 of them are on the west facade. The other 2 are on the northwest side of the tower. On top of the 3 portals and the first level of the west facade, there are beautiful windows. The central one is bigger and different from the other 2 ones. The other 2 on the right and the left side of the central window are the same size and pattern, and one quatrefoil on top with 2 trefoils below and 2 semi-trefoils underneath. The central window has a big quatrefoil in the head, 2 smaller quatrefoils below, and 4 semi-trefoils underneath. There is also one beautiful rose decoration in the center of the west facade on the second level, which is usually considered as a rose window by mistake. It has 9 trefoils inside a big circle, 2 big trefoils on the right and left side of the circle, a little quatrefoil in the center below the circle, and 3 coupled lancets, which are 6 lancets beneath. There are 2 traceries on the second level of the west facade on the right and left side of the rose decoration. Each consists of 1 quatrefoil and 2 trefoils, and each of them has one opening for reaching the gallery. There are also 2 traceries on the third level of the west facade which are ruined now, but in the drawing of Enlarged, the original ones are shown in front of the bell towers. There are 2 narrow vertical openings on the first level of the right tower in the west facade, and 3 of them on the second level in the southwest view of the cathedral. There are also 2 narrow vertical openings on the second level of the south facade inside the tracery of an unglazed window. There used to be a doorway on the south facade as shown in the drawings of Enlarged in the years 1883 and 1896, which is more like a window nowadays. There are another 2 windows on the ground level of the south facade. It seems that they were added later and not the original ones because of their shape and the simplicity of them. There are 5 windows of the same size and patterns on the first level of the south facade. The second one from the left side is ruined a little bit, and the fourth one is shorter because of the doorway below it. They all have a big quatrefoil in the head, 2 smaller quatrefoils, and 2 coupled lancets. There are 2 rose windows on the west walls of 2 attached buildings on the southern part of the cathedral, but unfortunately their tracery is ruined. It seems that there was a window with tracery on the first level of the south elevation of the attached building, but it was unglazed with masonry. On the semicircular attached building on the southern facade of the cathedral, there are two small windows on the first level in the east direction, which have the same shape and size. There is one door in the center at the ground level of the south elevation of the second attached building, and there are two small windows on the first level on the right and left sides of the door with net tracery